The crowd in full force here at Busch today for the Reds against the Cardinals in Mark McGwire's search for a home run record. Hi, hello, welcome back to Field Level. Along with Sean Casey, I'm George Grant. And Sean, everybody's talked a lot about Mark McGwire and a lot about the Reds' preparation for this series. As a young player, to be part of this has to be something special.
It is. I was saying yesterday, I was telling my mom last night that, you know, after that 60th home run, I had the chills for a couple minutes there. Meanwhile, I'm supposed to be competing against, you know, the Cardinals. But here, it's tough not to get caught up in something that's so special like this.
As a player, you respect what Mark McGwire does. The same respect you certainly want to win a ball game. It's kind of an odd feeling, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you're out here to win. You know, I mean, it's the Reds versus the Cardinals, and you're out here, you know, do your job. But you know, you can't help but to get caught up in, you know, what Mark's done for baseball this year, and Sammy. It's just been so amazing that it's just great for all the fans.
In the series that you've played against the Cardinals, you've had a good time down at first base with him. I know you haven't had a lot of time to spend with him off the field, but you can tell you're building a bond already.
Yeah, I have a pretty good rapport with him over there at first. It's real neat for me, you know, obviously being a young player and coming up and, you know, collecting that guy's cards all the time and watching what he's doing now. And so it's kind of neat to have some conversation with him at first over there. I remember the other day I just said, this is mayhem. This might be crazy to be you right now. And he said, it is.
What do you respect most about him as a player?
Just his power. I think just his mental ability to, you know, just how he gets that deep breath before every pitch, and you just realize he's mentally focused, and it's really something to watch.
You watched some great hitters as you grew up in Pittsburgh. Of course, you've always said that you patterned yourself after Will Clark. There's an inner drive on hitters like a Will Clark or like a Mark McGwire, something that you've duplicated, and we've really seen it in the second half. You've worked back from 1-2 and 0-2 counts. You've hit over 300. You got to be pleased with the second half.
I am. You know, I said, you know, when I came back up this second time, I said, you know, I'm just going to go out and do what I can do and really try and stay focused on every at-bat. And, you know, this second half has been a good second half for me, especially during my rookie year, especially the way things started out at the beginning with the eye injury and everything like that. So I've been pleased with the second half, and, you know, hopefully we can keep winning some ball games here, too.
How has this team handled the pressure of Mark McGwire and trying to win in spite of all the hoopla?
Yeah, well, hey, what we're doing is say, you know, like you see Hudak yesterday, second and third goes right at him, and, you know, I think we're enjoying it, too, but we're also, you know, trying to win some games, and, you know, we've gone right at him this series, and I think we'll probably continue to go at him.
There was a bit of controversy on Brett Tomko's comments about what happens if you give up the home run, and he said, well, I'm just going to keep coming right at him, and I know this clubhouse dealt with it in different ways.
Yeah, well, we got all over him about it, you know, saying, well, what do you mean, you know, but, you know, hey, Brett's a competitor. He's going to go out today, and he's going to go, you know, just like he said, he's going to go right at him. And, you know, Brett's a great pitcher. He's got a good fastball, and that should be interesting to see what happens today.
Sean, congratulations on a great second half, and have a great last month.
All right, thanks a lot, George. Sean
Casey joining us here on the pregame show. We'll be back with the starting lineups from St. Louis after these messages. Welcome back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. George Grant with Chris Welch. There is the man of the hour, number 25, Mark McGwire. He is not only the man of the hour here in St. Louis, but the man of the hour in all of Major League Baseball, as all eyes are on him as he sits on 60 home runs, 1 away from Roger Maris' record of 61, and 2 away from a brand new record. And another sellout crowd will give him a standing ovation as soon as he burst from the dugout. Hit it here. Hit it to me. Let me go get it. That's the byword in St. Louis. The Marriott Hotel just stone's throw away from the ballpark, overlooking the park, and listen to the greeting you'll get. $48,000 fans here each and every day. They have sold every game out from now till the end of the year. They'll end up with a 3.2 million figure of fans thanks to Mark McGwire and his chase of the home run record. The fans all around the city of St. Louis, Chris, has just been electric in the last few days.
Oh, it certainly has, George. I mean, every hotel room within 50 miles is full. You can't get a rental car. You can hardly walk down the street without seeing 4 or 5 people all around you wearing Big Mac T-shirts or Mark McGwire jerseys. It is really exciting, and the fact that it's really not that the fact that he is in pursuit of the home run record, it's the fact that so many people have embraced this and were rooting for Mark McGwire wholeheartedly. People inside and outside of the game of baseball. That's what makes it such a human story.
Mark McGwire and the Cardinals against the Reds. There is a ball game to play today, too, and let's check our Lincoln Mercury starting lineup for Jack McKeon and the visiting Cincinnati Reds. The Cardinals ended a 10-game losing streak to the Reds yesterday with a victory, and Cincinnati will try to start a new one today. Reggie Sanders will lead it off. Sean Casey bats second. Barry Larkin, in the middle of a 7-game hitting streak, will hit in the number 3 spot. Dimitri Young, the switch hitter, the former Cardinal, will hit fourth. Roberto Perugini will get the start with a right-hander going. Brett Boone at second, Eddie Taubensee the catcher, Chris Steins at third, and Brett Tomko the pitcher. A change in the starting rotation for the Cardinals, as Matt Morris will get the start today.
Well, the big right-hander who missed most of the first half of the season with a shoulder problem has really turned in a pretty good performance. They have not given him much in the way of run support. That's why he's 5-4, but his earned run average down around 2. He has not, in his last 4 starts, given up any more than 3 earned runs in any one game. So this guy's been around the plate. He's got an overpowering type fastball, very nice slider. He pitches much the way that Brett Tomko does, but this guy also very much around the plate.
That's 7 innings of 5-hit ball, indicative of the way he's been pitching of late. And Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan made the switch in the rotation just yesterday. They sat down and take a look at exactly where Morris would finish, and they figured if they started him today, he would start the final day of the season, barring, of course, any rain. So they thought they'd like to give him a good ending final month and an extra start, and he gets to start today. It had scheduled to have been Oliver, the pitcher, a left-hander. Instead, the Reds go against the right-hander. And here's Reggie. Sanders in at 274. Today playing center field. Jeffrey Hammond, still bothered by that nagging wrist injury, is on the sidelines. He is available to play today. On the road trip, Reggie 3 for 20. Had the game-winning run batted in on Friday as the Reds won the first game of this series. Lost the second game yesterday as Donovan Osborne shut them out. Last 10, he's been slumping, but if you look at the second half of the year, he's over 300. 301. Down to short. Polanco across to McGwire, and there's one away. Let's check the defense for Tony La Russa and the St. Louis Cardinals. John Mabry will start in left. Gant will sit. Langford in center. He missed yesterday's game. And Brian Jordan, outstanding in right, will get the start in right field today. Fernando Tatis over in the deal that sent Stottlemyre to the Texas Rangers will be your starter at third. Polanco and DeShields, the double play combo. McGwire over at first, and Eli Marrero is your catcher behind the plate. Cardinals have not played good defense this year. That guy is an exception. Whether he's played right or center, he's come through. Here's Sean Casey. Casey in at 268. On this hot, steamy day, the temperature approaching 100 degrees, 98 degrees. The humidity is just about at 98, too. It's like a July day in St. Louis, not a September day. McGwire flags it down one-handed, and one first baseman takes care of another. There's 2 away. If Matt Morris is on, Chris, the Reds could get a same dose of what they had yesterday, an outstanding pitching performance.
Well, you know, Donovan Osborne pitched his second career shutout yesterday, and it became 6-page news in the newspaper here because every other eye was on Mark McGwire. In the same way with Matt Morris today, he can very quietly have an outstanding day, and no one will ever notice about it. If he's on his game, you'll see some strikeouts, but you'll also see a lot of ground balls because his fastball in the 90s is best when it's down around the knees. Good sinking, two-seam fastball right down there is where he wants to place it.
Cardinals hope to end the season with a dose of what they hope to start the season with. That was great pitching. They never had that, though. Morris, Alan Bennis, Donovan Osborne, all prolonged periods on the disabled list, and Alan Bennis has never even pitched this year. And, of course, they lost Andy Bennis in a snafu trying to sign him in the offseason. So the first 4 starters they had projected have been no factor in 1998. Fastball misses outside. Hey, the total in the Star Bank Hits for Kids program for Barry is now at $17,000 and change for every hit by Barry. The Star Bank will make a donation to Franciscan at St. John and their programs to assist children and adults in the community. Morris falls down. Tatis scoops it up. It will not be in time, and Barry will have an infield hit. That's an 8-game hitting streak. Matt Morris would have been able to take care of it himself easily had he not slipped on the mound. Tatis tries to bail him out, but Larkin's speed gets him a base hit.
Well, the momentum of a right-handed pitcher will oftentimes take him over towards the first baseline when he follows through. That's what happens. Morris, on his first step, he slips, so his feet are gone there. Tatis comes in, the double pump there, and the speedy Larkin result in an infield hit.
So Barry's on. Tatis has all the tools. He'll come up with some spectacular plays at third. He has great power potential. Carney Lansford expects to do some off-season work with him defensively, and you really couldn't have a better guy to work with you defensively than Langford. Had as he came up as an outfielder, and Tatis will have as Dimitri Young comes up. In fact, Dimitri Young, who is not a third baseman, said he learned more from Carney Lansford defensively than anybody else he's ever worked with. Lansford talked about the mental approach to playing defense when Dimitri was playing first. Dimitri, of course, playing mostly left for the Reds this year. Short lead for Larkin.
Hey, Carney could hit a little bit. Maybe they'll work in the batting cage some, too.
He's a real deal. Lansford brought on as another former Oakland A, as a member of this coaching staff. And really it is a predominantly Oakland coaching staff here. Tony La Russa, the manager, who has won 1,500 Major League ball games. There's Dave McKay, who was with him in Oakland. There's Lansford, who was with him. And, of course, Rene Latchman in Oakland in between managerial jobs. And Dave Duncan has been with him like his sidekick. Mutt and Jeff, the Lone Ranger, and Tonto drilled to right towards the corner. It's a bullet. It's gone. A home run for Dimitri Young, his second of the series, his 14th of the year. And what a homecoming for Dimitri Young. The former Cardinal corks this one down the line. The only question was, would it have enough height to be out of here? It is, and right away the Reds lead it 2-0.
Looked like another breaking ball that Dimitri Young got. You know, he hit a home run the other night on a 3-1 breaking pitch. Broke the shutout by Ken Bottenfield. This time Matt Morris gives it up early. Looked like some kind of an off-speed pitch that he hit. He yanks it right down the line on a line.
So the Reds quickly ahead 2-0. Add the Dimitri home run, his 14th of the year, and the Larkin single, and the Larkin base hit puts another ching-ching in the Star Bank Hits for Kids program, donated to Franciscan at St. John and the Star Bank Hits for Kids program. 100 for Barry and 2 runs for the Reds. That adds up pretty good. Here's Roberto. He gets the start in right today. Since coming up from Indianapolis, he's been very respectable at the plate. That's his overall average. He's provided some major pop off the bench. MVP winner at Indy this year, MVP winner last year at AAA with the Mets. He's had 2 dynamite years at AAA. He hopes next year will be at the major league level. What do you do if you're the Cincinnati Reds? You already have a host of first basemen. Roberto predominantly a first baseman, although he's played left and right. Does he figure in the Reds' plans for next year? Ball 4. So Morris got the first 2 easily, then an infield hit, a home run from Dimitri, and now a walk, and Tony La Russa. A lot on his mind, the Mark McGwire chase, trying to finish 500, and of course the death of his mom, Oliva, this week. She passed away on Friday, 85 years of age. A great baseball fan. His mom and dad have followed his career and his teams throughout his career. They still live in Tampa. In fact, used to spend a lot of time rooting for the Reds when the Reds were training in Tampa. Called his dad and said, "Do you want me home?" He said, "No, I want to watch Mark McGwire and you on the television. So you stay there. They'll have the funeral on Tuesday. He'll be here for the game on Monday, fly home for the Tuesday morning funeral, and then fly back." It's a baseball family. Speaking of a baseball family, here's Brett Boone. Boone steps in at 274. Career year offensively with the power numbers, 17 home runs, 79 runs batted in, but in this series is 0 for 7. And that's one of the reasons why, Chris, he has gotten back to lunging, not being as patient as he's been at the plate. And he's gotten a little frustrated the last couple of days. It's time to take a step back, control yourself a little bit, and do what you did all year.
Well, Brett sees the end of the season on the horizon, and he wants to put a push on. He wants to be a guy who gets his batting average up around 285. He wants to have 20 home runs, maybe get 90 RBIs, and he's got to have a pretty good month of September in order to do that. So what happens is you begin to push a little bit. Maybe you swing at pitches that you normally really wouldn't swing at when you're in your groove, trying to make things happen. Patience sometimes is the best thing you can do up there, and for Brett Boone, that's the hardest thing for him to do because he just wants to go out and be aggressive everywhere.
Tatis has it. They'll get the force at second. Reds are retired, but not before Larkin and Dimitri Young combine for a double dip. Barry single, Dimitri home run. Reds lead it 2-0 to the bottom of the first. You know who's scheduled up third. The Lincoln Mercury starting lineup for Tony La Russa and the St. Louis Cardinals as we go to the bottom of the first. Delino DeShields will lead it off. Brian Jordan second. Mark McGwire will hit third. Ray Lankford fourth. Fernando Tatis, John Mabry, Placido Polanco, Matt Morris, the pitcher, batting eighth in this lineup, and Marrero, the catcher. Here's Brett Tomko, the Reds' right-hander.
Well, Brett Tomko happy that the month of August is behind him. After all, he was 1-4. His earned run average he saw go up over 7. He's lost his last 3 starts, the last 2 in a row against the Chicago Cubs, and he'd like to get win number 12, but he knows today, of all days, the focus is on him, not on how he's going to pitch against the Cardinals as such, but how he will pitch against Mark McGwire. Much has been said about his quotes surrounding the potential home run he would give up to Mark McGwire, but I talked to him this morning, George, and I see a refocused Brett Tomko, not only on McGwire, but on trying to get his 12th win of the year. He really, really wants to finish up strong.
Here's Brian Jordan with 1 away on the quick bounce out by DeShields. Jordan at 319, and there he is sitting in the on-deck circle all year long. He's had either Brian Jordan in front of him or behind him. He and Lankford, Jordan and Lankford, have both split it. Deep left center, back is Sanders, warning track wall, and he's got it. 2 away. Jordan gave that a ride, almost had his 24th, but here comes number 25. Listen to the greeting. $48,000 individuals up in unison to honor number 25, not just for what they expect, but for what he has done already. 60 home runs. Tomko ready to deal with him. Listen to the chant. Fastball is up high. Busch Stadium in St. Louis, 106 years of baseball history in this city, along with Cincinnati, one of the greatest baseball cities ever, celebrating Mark McGwire's season. And every place you go, look over the shoulder, you see the man with a camera there. Everyone has brought every camera they have in the house. Every pitch brings with it another shutter flashing. 2-0 is up and in. It's a foul ball. It's a strike. It clipped the tip of his bat. Well, Tomko's coming at him so far.
Well, he's coming at him as best he can, but remember that Mark McGwire leads the major leagues with 146 base on balls. This guy walks more than once per game. So for him to walk in this series, he's only walked 1 time in the 2 games against the Reds. The Reds pitchers have come right after him. Every time a pitcher throws a ball, you can hear boos.
McGwire, line drive. Larkin's got it. Wouldn't have been a homer, would have been a base hit. As it is, it's a line drive out. 2 former Olympians from '84 dueling each other. McGwire says, you got me that time. 2 close friends, 2 great players. That's the end of the first. We're heading to the second in St. Louis. He's homered in 31 of 33 ballparks he's played in during regular season games, not counting postseason. In what 2 parks is he homerless? What 2 parks has he been shut out in? Brian Hunterman, deep into his library and on his computer, has come up with a dandy on this, what in essence is a Mark McGwire weekend here in St. Louis. Number 25 robbed of a hit by Larkin. As we go to the second, the Reds lead it 2-0 thanks to a base hit by Larkin and a home run by Dmitri Young. Taubitz, Steins, and Tomko do up. Eddie fouls it off. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Taubitz in the series 0 for 4. Steps in with that .285 average all told. That's kind of, the story is clearly Mark McGwire, but there are different parts to this story. Who will be the pitcher that gives it up? Who will be the catcher? Now, who will be the home plate umpire? Mike Winters behind home plate on this umpiring crew. Gary Darling's over at first, Steve Ripley at second, and Larry Poncino over at third. And umpires will wonder, will they be the one who's standing behind home plate and have that picture of the swing and them standing there? You can't think of it as a dominating factor, but it's something that hangs in everyone's mind, and the ball players involved in this game wondering if they will be a part of it in some small way, and every fan here, 48,000, hoping that they'll catch the ball. unbelievable security here, Chris.
I'll tell you, so far the fans that have caught the balls, the home run ball yesterday, for instance, came right back down, negotiated a deal with the St. Louis Cardinals in return for the baseball he gave back to Mark McGwire. He got some autographed bats, got some memorabilia and so on. He's even going to be able to take batting practice with the Cardinals this coming week, and he has hopes out for perhaps some season tickets next year.
Yeah, they're going to give him the season tickets.
A far cry from the supposed $2 million that the record-breaking ball might be worth.
Yep. I don't know. I still have a good feeling that whoever gets it is just going to give it to him.
Is that what you would do?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Would you? I don't think the ball belongs to anybody. I think it belongs to baseball. Stein's down to second. 2 away. Hey, for every home run the remainder of the season, each United Way Home Run Derby sponsor will donate $100 to the United Way. Today, we salute Cincinnati Millicron for their sponsorship of the United Way Home Run Derby. I mean, realistically, yes, it belongs to who catches it, but, does it? I think in the essence of what this game is, it belongs to the game of baseball. And I think what Mark McGwire has given the game of baseball this year is something very special.
Oh, he's given the game of baseball something very special, but you can also turn it around, or at least from a different perspective, look at it from a financial issue. Look what he's done for the Cardinals, a team that has not competed for the pennant at all during the season, and they're going to make so much money this year only because of what Mark McGwire has done. So is it fair to take the financial rewards out of the fans' hand who might catch that ball just because of the tradition of the game of baseball?
Tomko lines out to Jordan. 1, 2, 3 for Morris in the second. Heading to the bottom of 2. Langford, Tatis, and Mabry do up 2-0 Cincinnati. On Wednesday, Tri-Health Senior Citizen Special next Wednesday with the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Brewers. 12:35. Reds fans 60 and older can purchase tickets for half price in advance of game day. Get your tickets for the Tri-Health Senior Citizen Special at all Ticketmaster outlets, Reds Dugout Shop, advanced ticket window, or by dialing Star Reds on your Ameritech cellular phone. Those days dwindling down to a precious few home games for the Reds. Cincinnati will leave here after today's ball game. Will be on Fox Sports Ohio both Monday and Tuesday from Houston against the Astros as Ray Langford takes ball 2-0, and then the Cardinals will come to town. And obviously, with McGwire sitting on 60, in all likelihood, the way he's been pumping out round trippers with 13 home runs in his last 18 games, the probability is that he'll get it either today or Monday or Tuesday when the Cubs come to town. But there is a chance that the magic home run may not come until he comes to Cincinnati on Wednesday and Thursday. And even if he's got the record will continue to grow. Don't forget, the Wednesday game has been switched to a 7:35 game. The Thursday game is 7:17. And even more importantly, for those of you that have tickets at will call, the will call windows will open on Wednesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. There are a whole lot of will call tickets, so if you got a chance, come over early and pick them up. You're working downtown. Langford deep to right at the warning track and up against the wall. Pettigini pulls it down. There's Roberto, 1 away, and let's check the Reds defense. Pettigini's over in right, Sanders in center, Dimitri Young in left, Casey, Boone, Larkin, Steins across the infield, Taubensee behind the plate for Brett Tomko. Langford, Jordan, and McGwire have been a home run trio this year. Jordan has 23. Langford almost had his 26 there, and of course McGwire at 60. Cardinals setting a team record for home runs this year. And the number 4 spot has been a pretty productive one.
Oh, no question about it. Those are two very talented ball players and athletes. Jordan, you don't know whether he'll be back next year. Ray Langford, a left-handed hitter. He is a very exciting ball player. Both these guys together, if they give you the kind of years you're supposed to, you figure with some decent pitching you will contend. They've given some pretty decent years this year, Langford and Jordan have, but the pitching has not been there. That's why the Cardinals are talking McGwire mania, and not also, like the Cubs will be, home run mania and in the pennant race.
Langford, of course, earlier this year, back in April, started off with a bang, and that precipitated a brand new contract for him, a multi-year contract. So Langford will stay very definitely. Jordan is a free agent at the end of this year. Talks have taken place, but no deal is yet. And remember, J.D. Drew was signed this year, so there is the prospect of him coming up, if not at the start of next year, then as the year progresses. And I got this guy, John Mabry. Mabry, first baseman, outfielder, and has also played a little at third. Very valuable left-hand hitter. 2 away from Mabry. Tomko deals to him. There's the 2-0 fouled off. Hey, the average big shopper saves more than $1,100 a year, so shop bigs and give yourself a bonus every season. J.D. Drew, the number 5 draft pick this year. He signed. Todd Hutchinson, a second-round pick out of Stanford, signed. They've got some outstanding young prospects that'll be coming this way in the next couple of years. Sanders has it. It's a 3-fly ball, 1-2-3 second. We're heading to the third. Guess what? Reggie Sanders due to lead it off, and the Reds lead it 2-0. And Victoria Casino winning moments flashback. September the 6th of 41. Johnny Vandermeer pitched a 2-hitter, struck out 14 Cardinals. 2-0 Reds win here in St. Louis at the old ballpark. Great tradition between these two teams, and a great baseball city. St. Louis, just as Cincinnati is a great baseball city. If you were to pick the 2 best baseball cities in America, I think it starts in those 2 cities. Tremendous history, tradition, great fans, and certainly the St. Louis fans have risen to the occasion this year, not only supporting Mark McGwire, but also the essence of the way they've supported the game of baseball and how they've conducted themselves in some difficult situations. When umpire Sam Holbrook ejected McGwire in the first inning of a ball game, there were some moments where people were afraid that the ugly side of fandom might wreak its wrath on the ballpark here. Jack Buck, the longtime broadcaster, went out and said first on the radio during the game, hey, let's act like we're proud to be St. Louis fans. And there's Mr. Buck. And subsequent to that, when there was talk of fan backlash, the next day it was Jack Buck. They unveiled a statue for him before the game. He said, look, when we start the game today, let's give the umpires a standing ovation. And the fans here did. Another city that wouldn't have happened.
Well, he's a class guy. It would have happened in Cincinnati. Maybe it would not have happened, that is, people throwing things on the field. But it got very, very ugly. But you also have to consider that when they draw 48,000 people here in this ballpark, that's about twice what they normally draw. So you have to figure that a lot of those people are here for maybe the first time, not only this year, but in many, many years. So you're getting the non-baseball fan here just being caught up in this home run race. Look at the people here wearing red, McGwire T-shirts everywhere. And
that's Cincinnati
overall,
red.
it's a very good.
Well, that's Cincinnati red. There were
yours and mine.
Here's Sean Casey. It is a special.
Where'd you get that number 25 jersey with Grand on the back anyway?
I had you sign it. Dimitri Young thinks it's his jersey they're wearing. Change up, swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts. Third strikeout of the game. There's 2 away here in the third. You talk about celebrities being here. You saw in the booth with Jack Buck, Bob Costas, who lives here in St. Louis, is behind him, and it has just been unbelievable, the people that have come out of the woodwork. Bruce Springsteen here today. You get a chance to sing a tune with him?
No, he and I have not hooked up yet. It's not because I'm not willing, though.
The hierarchy of Major League Baseball has arrived at the ballpark. Bud Selig is here. Paul Beeston is here. National League President Len Coleman. Yesterday, they unveiled a second statue of Stan the Man Musial outside the ballpark. Now, how many people have 2 statues? And he's still alive, too. That's the amazing thing. Larkin, broken bat, right field. Here comes Jordan. He's got it. That'll do it. A 1-2-3 in the top of the third. Morris settled down after the 2-run home run. Stan the Man waiting to see who's coming up 6th this inning. It's McGwire. January 2nd, 3rd down on your calendar. Reds Fest coming back. Glassman Baking Company presents Reds Fest at the Cincinnati Convention Center. Reds Fest features autographs, photographs with Reds players, as well as question and answer sessions with Reds management. Mark it down in your calendar. 3rd annual Reds Fest, January 2nd and the 3rd at the Convention Center in Cincinnati. Always one of the fun events in the offseason for Reds fans and baseball fans of all persuasions. Here we go to the bottom of 3. Placido Polanco to lead it off. Matt Morris and then Eli Marrero. 7, 8, and 9. Tomko's gotten the first 6 unblemished. Who will be the shortstop of the Cardinals for 1999? Royce Clayton traded along with Stottlemyre in the deal for Tatis to Texas. Cardinals have 3 fine young shortstops in their organization. They don't believe that any of them are really ready for the major league level right now. And with this team geared to win now, you wonder, where will they go? Will they try to pick up a free agent? Will they try to make a deal? There were a lot of people in St. Louis that wanted to see Barry Larkin as their shortstop earlier this year.
That would cost them money if they were to acquire a player like Larkin with his salary. But of course, as we mentioned before, George, they have discretionary income now that they have sold so many seats here with McGwire Mania.
2 balls, 2 strikes. In the hole, into left field, base hit for Polanco. Leadoff hitter on here in the 3rd. First hit off Tomko, and the pitcher Matt Morris will come to the plate. Morris does have 6 sacrifices this year, even though he missed a lot of time. He leads the club. There is the Maris family, Roger's 2 sons, and they are here today. His older son, very much out of the chiseled Roger Maris, and the crew cuts there too. They have been so gracious during this whole process. They know full well that once Roger's record is surpassed, that it will no longer belong in their family. But what will belong in the Maris legacy is the great way that Roger handled his post-baseball years, and the great way his family, Pat Maris and their whole family, has handled the notoriety over the years. A wonderful, wonderful family. Have a Roger Maris museum in their hometown in North Dakota. Still have a golf tournament for him. All his Yankee friends have continued the legacy of that golf tournament and the money that's raised for charity. There goes the runner, fouled off down the first base line. So they show bunt the first time, then hit and run with the pitcher second time, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. You come to St. Louis, you think of great names like Bob Gibson, and that guy, Lou Brock, stolen base king. They have named the stolen base award each year in his memory in the National League. Of course, he's been passed as the all-time stolen base leader by Ricky Henderson. Still a true blue Cardinal. Morris gets the bunt down. They'll have to take the out. They will, and the runner goes to second. Sacrifice number 7 for Matt Morris. Hey, if you like to have fun, and who doesn't, you're in luck. Visit any of our Southern Ohio locations to eat, drink, and be messy. BW3, Buffalo Wild Wings Grill and Bar, home of the ready-to-wear meal. Number 9 in the order, Eli Marrero, as Polanco goes to second with 1 out. Talk about the changing of the guard. Gaetti released. He, of course, now is with the Cubs and producing with them. The catching major domo of the last 10 years here in St. Louis, Tom Pagnazzi, released as well, and it's Marrero's job. They're giving him 2 solid months at the end of this year to try to get himself not just on track offensively, because he's got great offensive potential, but more importantly to get him into the catching groove of catching Dave Duncan's system.
Oh, no question about it. And he's risen the occasion pretty well offensively, up around 268. That's not a bad batting average for a youngster like him. But defensively, he's done very well as well. Thrown out 43% of the runners that have tried to run against him this year. That's called shutting it down. That puts him among the league leaders.
Boone holding Polanco tied at second. Pretty good sized lead for Polanco. Taubens will roll through the signs a second time. Just missed that fastball. Foul back, and it's 1-2.
Brett Tomko's the type of pitcher you'll see a lot of straight back foul balls if he's got his good stuff. He's a pitcher that throws a 4-seam fastball, which is also called a riding fastball. Most effective when it's up around the letters. In his better games, the opposition swings at those pitches and either pops them up or misses them. When they define the strike zone high and he has to come back down around the knees, that's when he essentially speeds the bat up and gets hit hard.
Line to left. Here comes Young charging. Here comes the throw to the plate. It will not be in time. The ball squirts away down to second. Goes Marrero. A run scores, and it's a 2-1 ball game. Eli Marrero's 16th run batted in of the year. Reds 2, Cardinals 1.
Well, we have seen over the last few starts Brett Tomko being beat by players that shouldn't hit him, hitting a breaking ball. This one, it's a curveball that hangs a little bit. He gets it up there. Marrero hangs with it and drives it into left field. Now, the Cardinals are going to run all day long on the Reds outfield. Dimitri Young yesterday had a guy run on him. No problem getting it to the plate, the runner that is. And the Cardinals break across with their first run.
Here's the top of the order. Delino to Shields. Another look. Taubensee tries to block the plate, but Polanco does a good job of just pushing that leg out from under Taubensee, and the run scores. Here's DeShields, who bounced out his first time up. One of the dilemmas that the Cincinnati Reds have is they have a host of first basemen, and in trying to get Dimitri Young's bat into the lineup with Casey at first, the only place you can play him is over in left. That's what Jack McCann has tried to do, keep his bat in the lineup, and it is in left.
Well, left field is a power position. It's a hitting position. It's not a defensive position, so that's not all that worrisome, because Dimitri Young's certainly hitting well enough this year to make him the everyday left fielder.
There goes the runner. They got a shot at him. The throw will be wide, and he's safe. Stolen base for Marrero. This is stolen on Tomko.
It certainly is. Most bases at third are stolen on the pitcher. Marrero, number 7 on the year. He's only been thrown out 2 times.
A throw right on the bag would have him, but it was to the foul side. But he got a giant jump. So the tying run's now at third with only 1 out. The Reds will bring the infield in. 3 balls, 1 strike.
What made that play for Marrero stealing third base was him going to second base on the throw to home. The fact that it was not cut off, even though the play at the plate was fairly close, he was heads up enough to head to second base. That put him in a position to steal third. Now the odds are very good that they're going to be able to get a run in.
Line to right. Here comes Pettigini. Here comes the catch, and Marrero had gone down about 5 steps. He tried to hustle back to third. It was too late for him to tag up at that point, and the Reds may dodge this bullet. Watch Marrero.
I don't know if Marrero may get just too far off third base right here, thinking that, hey, I'm going to get a good jump on a ball that's hit on the infield grass. No. This fly ball that goes out to Pettigini, very shallow. It would have been risky for him to try, so Tomko now within an out of getting out of it.
And also within 1 batter of facing McGwire again. That's the rumble that you feel go through the ballpark every time a hit comes or a walk comes and a runner gets on in front of McGwire. Deep left center, but under it is Reggie Sanders. That should do it. It does. So Tomko's dodged a bullet here in the 3rd inning, although 1 run did score. Marrero gets stranded at third. Marty Brennaman will join us when we return to St. Louis. It's 2-1 Cincinnati.
Dynamic shot from the blimp over Busch Stadium, and you get a pretty good idea of what kind of crowd this series has attracted today, and that's been the rule of thumb throughout the 3-day weekend. And it won't let up when Sammy and the Cubs come to town tomorrow and Tuesday. Hi again, everybody. Marty Brennaman along with George Grant, Chris Welch, and there's the focal point of all the excitement right there.
He'll be leading off the inning.
Yeah, he will. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the man who's provided the Reds with a lead early here will lead off the 4th for Cincinnati. Dimitri Young with a 2-run homer in the 1st, his 2nd in the series.
You know, Dimitri's been the focus of pretty much media attention. Let's take another look at the home run. A breaking ball. He got a breaking ball the other night. This one, he lashes down the line. That gives the Reds the 2 runs.
Yes, indeed.
The media attention that he has been given in this series so far, Marty, really surrounds Mark McGwire on the home run ball. After all, Dimitri's a left fielder. So if the ball goes off the facade down there and bounces back in the left field, they've asked him, what are you going to do with it? Do you have a game plan? He said, absolutely do. First of all, he says, I'm getting to the ball before any fan who might jump over the fence. Believe it. Secondly, I'm going to run it in personally and give it to Mark McGwire, not hit the cutoff man, and let somebody else take the glory. So that's the game plan of Dimitri.
I'll tell you what was interesting. Hal McCoy was saying that Barry Larkin told him today that a number of the players on the Reds team came to him as Dimitri goes 2 for 2 and asked Barry for some of his veteran wisdom about how they should react in the event that McGwire hits the 62nd home run against the Reds. That's a pretty good question. I mean, you know, young players, they may not know exactly what the proper demeanor would be when a guy sets a single season record like McGwire is inevitably going to do. And they asked Barry, you know, how should we act?
What'd Barry say?
Hang with him. You act with dignity. You know, you carry yourself with the same type of dignity that you normally
Specific
would.
question.
You don't jump up and down and cheer.
If you're playing third base, McGwire hits the record-breaking home run, and you're there, do you high-five him?
No way. Would you?
There are some players on this team that are prepared to do that.
I would certainly hope not. Dimitri Young falls down and is fortunately able to get back to third. Give Pettagini a double, and he loses an RBI because Young fell down. He was pretty much easily going to be in with a run that the Cardinals got in the last inning.
Roberto Pettagini has been some kind of impressive since coming up from Indianapolis. The stutter step by Young, he wants to make sure it's getting through. It does. He's being waved all around, and he hits some soft ground right there. The tumbling act, no problem. Back to the bag because the third baseman, Tatis, had his back to the play.
Here's Brett Boone now, and a big opportunity for the Reds here in the top of the 4th inning. Would you high-five him if you were out there?
Yeah, I would.
I would.
I think what he has done and will do with this record-breaking home run when he gets it transcends the game that is being played that day.
I can high-five him after the game, but I'm not going to do it in front of 48,000 people, I can tell you that. That's like watching players stand out in center field and shake hands and pat each other on the bat. That's the same type of thing.
What did you think when Steve Garvey congratulated Pete Rose at first base?
I thought it stunk.
At 41.92.
Didn't agree with it then. The struggles for Brett Boone continue.
Well, the troubles of Reds base runners continue. No law says that you have to try to score on a soft ground ball to the third baseman when you're leading off third base with nobody out. That's a bad offensive running play by Dimitri Young right there. He's not going to beat that play out. Hang at third base and make him make the out at third. Fortunately, Roberto Pettagini came around to third base, but now the Reds are within a ground ball of being punched out of the inning.
After having him at second and third with nobody out. The Reds and United Way are teaming up to make a difference. Be part of an exclusive group of 45 local business sponsors who contribute $100 to United Way for each Reds homer between now and September 27. You'll also get a chance to step up to the plate and take your swings before the start of a game during United Way weekend with the Reds, September 11 through 13. Call 762-7184. That's 762-7184 to join the team. We'll pause 5 seconds for station identification on the Cincinnati Reds television network. Reds threatening here in the top of the 4th inning. First and third occupied, 1 out. Taubensee 0 for 1 today, was a strikeout victim in the 2nd inning and behind in the count here in the 4th. And he checked his swing in time. Counts 2-2.
I got a question for you, Marty. We talked about it earlier when George was over. You're sitting in the stands. You're a baseball fan. John Q. Public. You paid your ticket. You're up there in left field. McGwire hits the record breaker. What do you do with the baseball? Do you turn it back into him, or do you sell it to somebody who might offer you a 7-digit sum for it?
Funny you should ask that question, Chris. Funny you should ask that question, because I'm going to respond by telling you a story. Last night, went out to dinner by myself at a little Chinese restaurant at Union Station. I was seated next to an elderly couple and a young man, and I couldn't help but overhear their conversation. And they talked and they talked and they talked and they talked, and I finally said, I don't mean to interrupt your conversation, but are you Denny Allen? And he said, yes, I am, the young man who caught the ball yesterday. And so we talked. He was with his grandparents. He's a graduate of the University of Missouri, works for the St. Louis football Rams, and we had a long talk, and he said that he had made up his mind as Taubensee strikes out swinging and Boone steals second, that if he were fortunate enough to get the ball, he was going to turn it back into Mark McGwire and ask for nothing other than what he wanted most, and that was to take batting practice with the Cardinals, which he's going to do Tuesday before the game against the Cubs, and some assorted autographed items. He got a couple of bats and got a uniform jersey. I think a pattern is being set. I think that we are seeing people turn balls back in now, and hopefully this will be the trend that continues. But that's a tough question to answer. Somebody offers you $1 million. That's tough.
Keep in mind now that the balls that have been turned in are not worth the money that they say that the record-breaking ball will be worth. Not even close to.
No, that's right.
So you're talking a difference of maybe $1 million.
Right, you're right.
And here in a game that has been punctuated constantly by more financial news and salary news and cost of ticket news than anything else. I mean, after all, Mark McGwire is very generous with his signature and autograph, especially when it comes for charities and so on. However, you're still paying at autograph card shows for players to come and sign. You're paying exorbitant prices for some retired players to sign a baseball. After all, why shouldn't a common fan be able to make some money if he happens to be sitting in their lucky seat?
Oh, I agree with that. I'm not arguing with that at all. I think it's totally up to the individual, the person who catches the ball. Reds are going to come out of this inning with absolutely nothing after having them at second and third and nobody out. It looked like Marrero was crossed up on that pitch.
One thing for certain, Matt Morris has shown a pretty good curveball. Struck out Taubensee on a 3-2 hook.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
He's gotten ahead of Tomko with it. This is obviously where Morris wants to make a decision on a 2-2 pitch. Bases loaded, 2 outs. He goes 3-2, the runners will be released. And if Tomko could chink one in there, he might get 3 RBIs.
That's the inning. No runs, 2 hits, 3 left. And in the middle of the 4th inning, it remains the Reds 2 and the Cardinals 1. And Big Mac will lead off the inning for St. Louis. Fans for their support this season with Fan Appreciation Day, Sunday, September 27th. Great prizes will be given out to lucky ticket holders during the game from Frisch's, Coca-Cola, Conn's, Malibu Grand Prix, Bryant Equipment, Sports Service, and Fox Sports Ohio. Thanks, Reds fans, for a great season and for all of your support. Well, as they have done throughout this series and in recent days, they come to their feet all over the ballpark in anticipation of maybe a record-tying home run. Tomko starts him off with an off-speed pitch inside, ball 1. McGwire lined viciously to Barry Larkin in the 1st inning. Barry making a nice diving play. 2 balls and no strikes. Ball 3. He has walked only 1 time in this entire series. And that was in the opening game on Friday night. And he's walked for the 2nd time.
You know, Marty, the people here obviously came to see Mark McGwire hit a home run, but if you look at the numbers on Mark McGwire all year long, yes, 60 home runs is astonishing, but even more so is his 146 walks. Make it 147 that he has been given all year long. So it's not like the first time this guy's had a base on balls. He's selective around the plate.
You think it is by the way the crowd reacts. It's unbelievable.
And you have to figure that the pressure is on the pitcher here. I mean, Tomko doesn't want to hear those boos out there. He wants to come after him, but still in all, he doesn't want to throw a fastball right down the middle in a 2-1 ball game.
No way. So Tomko's first walk today goes to McGwire, and now he deals with Ray Lankford, who sent one out to right where Pettagini caught it on the warning track in right field.
The interesting thing, and I'm not saying it would happen, but it could happen with the Cubs coming in here and with Sammy Sosa chasing McGwire and the record, which pitching staff will pitch to these guys? If you're a real close friend of Mark McGwire and you're on the St. Louis Cardinal pitching staff, do you simply pitch around Sammy Sosa?
That's a good point. McGwire's going to third. He decoyed the dickens out of Reggie Sanders. I mean, absolutely decoyed the heck out of him. He slowed up as he started to second. Reggie's throw went into second, and Mark then turned it on and came on to third.
Well, there's no way that a 5-tool player like Reggie Sanders ought to be fooled. This guy's a veteran. He figures McGwire is going station to station. Not so. This guy's an athlete, Mark McGwire is. Reggie Sanders had his pocket picked because he wasn't paying attention.
Now, if Reggie comes up throwing like he's supposed to, McGwire stays at second base, but he didn't. And the tying run's now at third with nobody out. Tatis is 0 for 1, the Cardinal third baseman. Quick throw over, and just back in time is Ray Lankford. Reds infield, a double play depth. 2-1 ball game. Reds have the lead, but that is in jeopardy right now. Tomko able to dodge a major bullet in the third inning, even though he allowed a run. And in deep trouble here an inning later. Lankford with 19 stolen bases, so that's the reason why Tomko is paying a lot of attention to the runner over at first base. Boomer's products, barbecue sauce and salsa, now available at your local grocery store or at www.boomersbarbecue.com. Great products for a great cause. That's a double play ball, and that's an error. And it's a tie game at 2. Brett Boone is having a tough time right now.
Well, it was a full moon last night. That's the only way I can explain it, because this simply doesn't happen to Brett Boone very often. You get a ground ball, even a hard one like this, to your second baseman, and if he's got B. Boone on his back, that's going to be a double play ball.
Only 6 of them, but he's been chasing Mickey Morandini of the Cubs in a bid to become the first player in history to win a fielding championship at a position 4 years in a row. And he now with 6 errors, and Morandini, assuming he didn't make any today in the Cub loss in Pittsburgh, with only 4.
Well, keep in mind that Morandini has about 100 fewer chances than Boone on the year. So if Morandini miscues, obviously the percentage is more dramatically altered.
Right. Tie game at 2. First and second occupied. Nobody out. And it's no balls and 2 strikes on John Mabry. McGwire walk. Lankford single. Tatis, give him a run batted in. strong look by Tomko. Count holding at 2 strikes and nothing on the left-hand batter. Jack McKeon, he has been holding court 3 days in a row here in St. Louis.
And loving it.
I'm telling you, absolutely. He is in his element. And the type of media attention this series has gotten, and as quotable as he is anyway. Brett makes a play on this one, and the runners are forced to hold at first and second, respectively. 1 down in the inning. Here's Polanco, the shortstop, who extended his hitting streak to 11 games in a row with a ground ball base hit to left. Leading off the last inning, and he came around to score the first Cardinal run. The way this young man has played, is he the answer to the shortstop position with the Cardinals? I keep hearing that they're interested in trying to acquire Barry Larkin in the offseason.
I don't think offense has been the biggest problem for the Cardinals, obviously, but if you can get a Larkin, yeah, I mean, I'll take him over Placido Polanco any day. That's a no-brainer.
Just wonder how serious the rumors are about Barry. I mean, if they can't get together and sign Brian Jordan, going to take on a $5 million contract. Barry Larkins, if there's any truth at all to the story, that they would like to work out some kind of trade with the Reds to get him over here with the Cardinals next season. 1 ball, 1 strike. You all right?
Yep.
You sure?
Got it plugged in, all set.
You had that look of panic on your face there for a minute.
Got a low battery warning.
Oh, no. Help us.
Yeah, the question I have for you, Marty, you talk about the acquisition, potentially the acquisition of a Barry Larkin and that big contract. You know, they've sold a lot of seats here. Does the fact that Mark McGwire is here, obviously it'll boost ticket sales for next year. It'll raise whatever advertising rates are due up for this year if there are contract rights to be negotiated. They're obviously going up because of it. Does this make St. Louis now a large market ball club while he is playing in St. Louis?
Well, I guess in some respects it does. I would think so, but it's a temporary thing. No, I don't think. No, it doesn't make them a large market ball club because it's a temporary thing. Only as long as Mark McGwire plays here.
Almost like having a new stadium.
Exactly
a temporary thing.
That's exactly right. You may have a, you may have a 2 or 3 or 4 year honeymoon period.
Yep.
But sooner or later you got to prove you can win.
Of course, McGwire is 34.
That's right. That's a very good question.
Which makes his year even more unique and astounding.
Yep. Sanders broke back on that ball initially, but it hangs up long enough for him to get to it. So 2 men are out as Polanco's retired, bringing up the pitcher Matt Morris.
You know, the comparisons between Roger Maris and Mark McGwire, go on and on. But the most interesting thing that I found, Marty, in talking about these is the fact that McGwire is 34 years old. You have to figure coming back next year, he's the odds-on favorite of leading the National League in home runs again. Roger Maris, after the age of 29, only hit 35 home runs total.
Amazing.
Hampered by a hand injury that took away his power. McGwire, the way he keeps himself in shape, may go on and on and on.
Well, you hear the question more and more nowadays because of what McGwire and Sosa are doing. Does Roger Maris deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? You look at one of his sons sitting down there watching what could be a record-tying event today.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Absolutely not. And I do not think that when you look at his career, when he had a 10 or 11 year career, he had the 1 record-breaking season, and 61 home runs, I think, were like 26 or 27 more than he ever hit in his next best year.
Yeah.
There are those who would say, yeah, he deserves to be in it for no other reason than the fact that he is a reigning single-season home run holder. But I don't agree with that. 1-2 on Morris.
It's not like his accomplishment has been kept out of the Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
That record-breaking feat is certainly included in and exhibited in Cooperstown, but
rather prominently.
Yes, yeah. But not a locker given to Roger Maris or a plaque.
Morris hanging around as he fouls off the next pitch. Kind of like Mark McGwire's chances of one day being in the Hall of Fame.
They're looking pretty good.
He is right now sitting on 447 lifetime home runs, and you think about what might have been those 2 years back in the early 90s when, because of injuries, he hit 18 over 2 seasons, 9 one year, 9 the next. That's all for Morris, and that's all for the Cardinals, but they tie it up. A run on a hit, an error, and 2 left. We head to the 5th inning. Glad you're with us on this Sunday afternoon. The Reds 2 and the Cardinals 2. Stated while we were away, we call him the howitzer. From Big Mac to the big unit. Tomorrow, Chris and George, 5 o'clock. First of the 2-game series. They'll be back at 8 o'clock on Tuesday night and Wednesday night in the first of the 2-game series against the Cardinals. And the big unit, Randy Johnson, gets the Reds tomorrow. There's Big Mac. Were I not going home to take Ashley to college, I would dearly love to watch Mr. Johnson pitch.
Always a spectacle in the Astrodome. You know, it's interesting because this has been quite a trip. You go through Chicago with Sammy Sosa and the full packed house there at Wrigley Field. Yeah. They were hanging from the rafters there. And, of course, you've got McGwire mania here. You've got going to Houston, a team that is going to cruise into the postseason. But with Randy Johnson on the mound, it certainly gives people a chance to take a look at the big unit as he takes on the Reds for the first time.
Do you think that the Atlanta Braves are pulling for the New York Mets to be the wild card team? Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, pulling for the Chicago Cubs to be the wild card team. You think that's
so that they don't have to play Houston in the first round?
Yeah.
I would.
Thank you. Sean Casey's 0 for 2 today. Reds have had 4 hits, I should say, off of Matt Morris. 1 more the Cardinals have collected off Brett Tomko. And that 2-0 lead the Reds had early. We're now tied, and you can check out Casey and how he ranks among National League rookies. What a year Todd Helton has had.
Boy.
That's all for Casey, and that's another punch out, number 6 for the Cardinal pitcher. And 2 quick outs here in the 5th inning.
Casey was so sure that was going to be a ball that he has stepped back out of the batter's box and begun rearranging his batting gloves like he does after every pitch. Matt Winter said, go ahead and do that in the dugout.
Yeah. 2 out in the inning. Here's Barry Larkin. Star 69 from Cincinnati Bell. Call return service is now at everybody's fingertips. Cincinnati Bell, people you know you can rely on for answers. Larkin has singled in 2 times. He has scored a run. He was on base when Dimitri Young played long ball in the 1st inning. If you just joined us, Mark McGwire has stayed in the yard 2 times up. He's lined to short. He's walked and scored a run. Ray Langford over to pick it up, and Larkin has his 2nd hit of the day. And that single by Barry means another $100 has been donated to Franciscan at St. John and the Star Bank Hits for Kids program. Dimitri Young is perfect today. Home run and a single. Now at 303 with 14 homers, and he's tied Brett Boone for the RBI lead on the club with 79. Moore's concerned that Barry might be running. 2 runs, 5 hits, an error for the Reds. 2 runs, 3 hits, and no errors for St. Louis. Barry Larkin with 23 stolen bases. Even on Young at a ball a strike. This reminder, the Reds ticket office will be open at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, 9 to 5 for the purchase of tickets. If you are so inclined to catch the Reds and the Cardinals Wednesday and Thursday nights, tickets are still available for that series. And who knows what might happen between now and then. McGwire needs 2 to set the new standard. And after today, he's got tomorrow and Tuesday here against Sosa and the Cubs. And Sammy failed to go deep this afternoon, so he's sitting on 58. The office will be open tomorrow at Synergy Field from 9 until 5. Murray back again. Two pretty good talents carrying on over at first base. One of the interesting things about McGwire, to give you a true impression of the man, Thursday, an off day, he spent 10 hours shooting a PSA television announcement concerning sexual abuse of children, which is one of his pet projects. He, of course, donating $1 million annually to that organization when he signed a multi-year contract, or to set up a new foundation, I should say, here in St. Louis. And 10 hours he spent on the off day Thursday shooting that public service announcement.
That following coming in late, I guess, from Florida at a game that they had played the night before.
Yeah, Tony La Russa said the one guy who needed the day off more than anybody else didn't get one because of his feeling for this foundation. 3-for-3 day for Dimitri Young, and Larkin carries it on around to third. So back-to-back singles with 2 outs by Larkin and Young. And now Roberto Pettagini steps in, and he comes off of a 2-base hit in the 4th inning.
Boy, Dimitri Young really showing these Cardinal people why they may not have, or may they have acted too quickly in trying to send him off to another city when they traded him for Jeff Brantley.
Well, that deal's been a slam dunk.
Jeff Brantley coming back off surgery, not having the kind of year that they expected. He's been part of the overall pitching failure of this Cardinal team.
That's Dave Duncan, the pitching coach. He was with La Russa in Oakland. He is with La Russa in St. Louis. At the moment, nothing going on in the Cardinal bullpen, so this is just a bit of a visit.
Turning on a pretty good fastball right there. 93 miles an hour it is, riding it into the gap. Could be that Morris went with the fastball, because when he threw him a breaking ball the first time up, Dimitri lined it into the right field stands for a dinger.
Chris, you know, you made a comment in passing after the double by Pettagini his last time up about what a job this guy's done. If he can't help this club next year, something's wrong.
Well, you know, there were people screaming and hollering all year long about, look at the year he is beginning to have in Indianapolis. Why wait so long to bring him up?
Yep.
And they continued to do it and continued to wait down there, and he continued to smash the ball down in AAA. Yeah, I think you've got to find a place for him on this ball club.
Absolutely right.
I don't know whether he's going to start. You know, even though he's not 23, 24 years old, I think he's 30 years old, Pettagini is. And if he is, he's still, because of his low salary next year, should fit into the rebuilding plan, or at least for a few years.
The inning is over as Pettagini bounces to second. No runs. The Reds collect a couple of 2-out hits, and they strand those runners. We're in the middle of the 5th inning, and a close encounter in St. Louis, and they've got Marrero, DeShields, and Jordan, and if any of that trio gets on, McGwire will bat. The stadium in downtown St. Louis on this very hot day. Temperature at game time, 98 degrees. Fortunately, the humidity level is not all that high.
And fortunately, they're playing on natural grass.
Not good.
Well, I hear the temperature on the turf at Synergy Field during the Bengals game today, 134?
Yes, 134 degrees at game time. At game time. And the Bengals predictably lost. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Held the Oilers to 23.
Yeah. I can't wait to see how many yards Eddie George ran for. I think Corey Dillon had a pretty good day for the Bengals. But a loss. is a loss is a loss. Herrera with an RBI hit his first time up. Now, the fan that caught that ball's worth absolutely nothing.
All right, let me ask you this, Marty.
Yes. You're asking me a lot of questions today, Chris.
I'm inquisitive today.
You're taxing my brain, but go ahead.
McGwire comes to the plate. He fouls a ball back, and it comes into this TV booth, and you somehow miraculously, it finds you underneath the table.
And
here.
it would be miraculous, too.
And now you got the ball. Now, normally, you reach out and toss the ball down the stands below.
Not this time.
What do you do with it?
I save it and get him to sign it when they come to Cincinnati. Because it's got those marks on it, you know.
Yeah.
It's got a little number on it, and then it's got some kind of substance that will show up on an infrared light. So, no, he wouldn't get it back, but it would be miraculous. Or the fan wouldn't get it back. But it would be miraculous if the ball caught me.
Yeah. It would have to land directly in your pocket because I'm going after it.
Yes, absolutely. That's correct. You're right on every count. Here's the Shields. Well, keep an eye. They say that right behind wherever Major League Baseball's box seats are, wherever our inimitable commissioner is sitting today, that the ball boy, the bat boy for the Cardinals, will get 4 baseballs as McGwire comes to the plate. There's a commissioner. And the bat boy will get 4 baseballs, which he will carry to, in this case today, the plate umpire is Mike Winters. And those balls have numbers, a real small number on it. Yesterday it was 3. I guess they change up from day to day. And also the ball has been painted in a certain area, invisible to the naked eye, but does show up under an infrared light. So we'll keep an eye on those kids and see if they are not provided the balls, or maybe they already have them. But there's a separate bag, and there are the 4 balls in his hand right there. If that means anything at all, then maybe the umpire just needs 4 more baseballs. Do you have McGwire's autograph?
No, I don't.
I have a green fly on you.
I have been asked to get it by many, many charities, and he is very charitable with his autograph. And I asked to the clubhouse man, the visiting clubhouse man, if they were going to send over some stuff to get autographed. I have yet to see whether it has been autographed or not.
Yeah. You mean in Cincinnati?
No, here in St. Louis.
Yeah. You talking about Buddy Bates? Oh, you're talking about Jerry down at the Ritz clubhouse, yeah. Three balls and 2 strikes on Delino to Shields, a 2-2 score. We are in the home half of the 5th inning at Busch Stadium. Reggie has it, and they're 2 out. This season, BP will be making a donation to Jobs for America's Graduates. It's a BP Big Play for Charity. Jordan has hit the ball in the air twice today, and both times Reggie Sanders has been on the receiving end. Pedagini, inning over. 3 men up, 3 men down. We are through 5 in the final game of the weekend series. It's the Reds 2 and the Cardinals 2. Stated based on the Cub loss and the Pirate win in the final game of those 2 teams, between those 2 teams at 3 Rivers this afternoon. Cardinals, the Brewers, the Reds, and the Pirates, and you can pretty much throw those 4 teams and their names in a hat and shake them up. Interesting to see how things end up when the season closes 3 weeks from today. And that's how the wild card race looks right now. And of course, pending, oh no, that's the way it is, the way it stands. The Mets were shut out today, and the Cubs were a loser. Brought to you by AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Thank you. 2 balls and 1 strike to count on Brett Boone, who's now 0 for 20 on the road trip. Three balls and 2 strikes. And a leadoff walk to start this 6th inning. The skipper of the Cardinals. Last year, of course, he predicted when the season started that they would win the division. That obviously didn't happen, though he was mummed this year, and it's a good thing. Where does Matt Morris fall in the scheme of things? He's not a number 1. Is he a potential number 1?
He's a potential number 1, yeah. You better, at least from the standpoint of stuff, Marty, he's got a very good curveball. We've seen that today. He's got a fastball around 93, 94 miles an hour. He had a sore shoulder for the first few months of the season, so he missed a lot of starts. And Morris on the year, I mean, when you fashion up a 212 earned run average coming into this ball game over a period of 12 starts, that's certainly not a full year. You want to see what he does over 30 to 35 starts, but still, based on his size, his stuff, and his youth, he's a potential number 1, no question.
He has just flat worn Eddie Taubensee out today. That's 3 straight times he has struck Taubensee out. 7 of them for the Cardinal pitcher.
First time he gets Eddie looking right here, a little comeback fastball. I'll tell you, with the way this pitching staff has looked the last couple of nights, Ken Bottenfield had a good night on Friday against the Reds. Donovan Osborne, obviously a good day because he threw his 2nd career shutout yesterday, and good outing so far on the day for Matt Morris. If those guys have been healthy and in the rotation all year long, this would be a lot better Cardinal ball club.
Yeah.
And it would have given Mark McGwire an edge on becoming a candidate for the most valuable player award, which a lot of people are now conceding to somebody other than McGwire just because he's not playing for a team that is in contention.
2 outs. As we remind you, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Reds and Fox Sports Ohio. Brett Tomko will hit with 2 outs. Mark McGwire due to lead off the bottom of the 6th inning. The Reds scored twice in the first on a 2-run homer by Dimitri Young. The Cardinals then came back, picking up a run in the 3rd. Eli Marrero knocked that one in, and then they scored another run in the 4th inning to get even at 2-2.
Well, I wish you good luck on your way to Athens to take Ashley to school tomorrow. That's a momentous occasion for you.
Yes, it is.
Have a safe trip.
With
great luck.
Trepidation and a little bit of sadness. When you see one of them off like that, boy, there's strike 3 call. Not going to be an easy day, I can tell you that. No runs, no hits, and 1 left. We're in the middle of the 6th inning. McGwire's coming up. It's a 2-2 ball game. Last inning. Watch this transfer here now. This young man, one of the bad boys, he's getting a supply of 4 baseballs from a gentleman representing Major League Baseball, and he was on his way to the plate to deliver them to plate umpire Mike Winters. And this is Mark McGwire, and the reason for the different baseballs. Foul ball. Foul ball. Wow. That young man is some kind of excited. It was just a foul ball. You got a pretty good pitch to hit right there, too.
Yeah, it was an off-speed pitch he hung in pretty good on. Usually, change-ups, Brett Tomko reserved for most left-handed hitters, but he said today, I'm going to throw him change-ups, fastballs, curveballs, and everything.
Next red, Dave Parker, Cardinal batting instructor, and a good one. This man has hit 13 home runs in the last 18 games going into play today. Tomko working. See you later. Got him with a change, and he locked him up. An outstanding pitch by Brett Tomko. Slow breaking ball.
You're right, Marty. It was a change of speed, but he really pulled the string on his curveball right here. Good arm action. Look at that.
He sure wasn't looking for that.
Mark McGwire could do nothing but hiccup when he saw that baby coming.
I like that. Here's Ray Lankford now with one out. I'll tell you one thing, you take nothing away from the game Tomko's pitched today. He's been good. Two young right-handers, immensely talented both, Tomko and Matt Morris.
Well, I think Brett Tomko, Marty, finally realizes now he sees the end of the season on the horizon. This is his first start in the month of September. He's had an awful month of August with a 1-4 record, an earned run average over 7. He's a little salary drive right here.
Yeah.
Up and down season for Brett overall. The first 8 games outstanding. The next 7, 0-5. Then 5-1 on the next 8. You saw the month of August 1-4 with a 7.34 earning.
Now the way it's gone up and down is the beginning today a run of prosperity between now and the end of the season. We'll see. He's 3-1 pitching from behind to Lankford, and he walked it. Well, this rain may have kept you away from Conn's Baseball Card Day with the Reds, but we've added a second one to make sure all Reds fans get their set of 1998 player cards. On September the 12th, the first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a set of 1998 limited edition Reds player cards when the Reds play the Arizona Diamondbacks at 1:15. Thanks to Conn's. Get your tickets for Conn's Baseball Card Day at all Ticketmaster outlets, the Reds Dugout Shop, or the advanced ticket window at Synergy Field. I guess they're taking some sort of inventory relative to the balls that they put in play when McGwire bats. That's one. And that's two. A nice pickup by Sean Casey as the Reds turn the double play and end the inning. George Grant will return when we come back from the break, and at the end of 6, the Reds 2 and the Cardinals likewise. Sanders, Casey, Larkin, the top third of the batting order due up for Cincinnati. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. George Grant with Chris Welch. Wow, electricity in the Gateway Arch City. Mark McGwire had everyone on their feet. A bullet down the left field line that just curved foul. We will live for another at bat from the big first baseman because we are tied 2-2 as we go to the 7th inning. Matt Morris set to go to work. To Reggie Sanders, who lead it off. Reggie 0 for 3. Casey and Larkin to follow. There are more oohs and ahs and wows in this stadium the last 3 days, a season long.
If you are a pitcher and you can shut Mark McGwire down during this time of year, given the fact that people are expecting you to throw strikes, number one, and you as a pitcher who may be inclined to pitch somebody inside may not be inclined to pitch Mark McGwire inside, much in the way of pitchers did not do that to Cal Ripken while he was in pursuit of the consecutive game record. You know, you come inside to McGwire and he checks the swings and he hits it off of his hand. All of a sudden he's got a broken bone in his hand and he can't hit anymore. Now you become the bad guy. So pitchers have begun to stay away from that. In fact, Brett Tomko told me before the ball game, hey, I always like to pitch him inside to set up my breaking ball. But if I do so today against Mark McGwire, it'll probably be below the waist. So if I hit him, it's going to be in the leg somewhere and not risk breaking his hand.
1-2 to Reggie. Outside 2 balls and 2 strikes. And that guy so far tonight, McGwire, line drive to short, robbed of a hit by Larkin, walked in the 4th and struck out in the 6th. And there's another strikeout for Matt Morris. He's mowing him down. First out here in the 7th inning. And Chris, you know, there was a lot of talk here in St. Louis, in fact around the country, and especially back in Cincinnati, about the comments that Brett Tomko made about pitching to Mark McGwire. The predominant evaluation was that they saw a sound bite of Tomko saying, sure, you know, if I'm in a situation, I wouldn't mind being the guy that makes the highlight reels if he gets a home run off me. What they didn't see was the fact that he preceded that by saying if it was a 9-0 ball game and he hit it off me, what would your reaction be? So it was kind of taken out of context, number one. Number two, the reaction to that by his teammates, I think, really gave him a wake-up call. They, in no uncertain terms, told him, hey, we don't operate that way, and even whether you were out of context or not, zipper it up. Just worry about pitching.
I don't think Mark McGwire would want it that way. He's hit 60 home runs, not knowing what's coming, not having the ball grooved to him, not being just challenged with a fastball versus fastball just because you want to not to get beat with anything but a fastball. So, you know, and in fact, Brett Tomko told me that he and McGwire, this is after Tomko's comments were aired on ESPN. He saw him in the weight room here at Busch Stadium and said, you know, what I said was taken completely out of context. And McGwire said, I didn't even see the comments. I don't know. He goes, well, don't worry about it. I'm going to go after you with my best stuff. And Tomko reiterated that to me this morning before he took the mound today and said, hey, I'm going to throw him all sorts of stuff, as was evidenced by a good changeup that he threw him in this last at bat before he finally struck him out on that hammer-like breaking ball. So Tomko's certainly not just serving it up to McGwire.
No, and I think the bottom line of all of this is how has Brett Tomko pitched against McGwire today. He battled him every step of the way. And as Tomko told you, he told me the same thing. He said, look, I want to be known as one of the best pitchers in this league, and I do that by the way I pitch. And let's let the pitching speak for itself, and boy, he sure has today. He's pitched him tough and given him pitches to hit. Here's Barry Larkin, 2 for 3 for Barry. Casey down at first. Talk about the Bobsey twins. That's what Casey and McGwire become. They just, every chance they get. High in the air, center field, long run. Langford, is he going to get there? Yes, he does. 2 away. Hey, get your tickets now to see the Supremes in concert at Grand Victoria Casino in Rising Sun, Indiana, September 10th and 11th. Just $15 for Grand Passport members, including 1 casino admission. You must be 21. Call 1-800-GRAND-11. Well, if anybody can loosen up the big guy at first, Sean Casey can't.
Of course, Sean Casey has to stand on top of the base to get eye level with McGwire.
Why don't you pick him off while he's talking?
Hey, look, there's the blimp.
Here's Dimitri. Dimitri, a home run. He's been the Reds' juice again, and a couple of base hits. The home run accounted for the Reds' 2 runs. It's 2 runs, 7 hits for Cincinnati. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Cardinals. That's the good side of it. The bad side of it, in the 4th, Dimitri led off with a base hit. He should have scored on another base hit, but slipped rounding third. The Reds came out of that inning dry. They should have had 1 or maybe 2 runs. They didn't get it. That's why we're still tied 2-2.
Trying to keep the ball down against Dimitri. Both of the pitches that he has hit off of Morris were base hits. That is extra base hits on the day. To make it the last base hit was in the left center gap for a single, and then he hit the home run with both off breaking balls that were up around his waist. Morris making sure he stays down there. That's the kind of ball that you hammer off your front foot.
Setting up inside, down and in. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Cincinnati Reds, Fox Sports Ohio Television Network. Swing and a miss. Dimitri's punched out. The Reds get a base runner, but left stranded. That's 10 strikeouts for Matt Morris. He's been mowing them down today. We're heading to the bottom of 7. Mabry, Polanco, and Morris 2 up. Here are the numbers. 2 runs, 7 hits, and an error for the Reds. 2 runs, 3 hits, and no errors for the St. Louis Cardinals. Brett Tomko stays in there. Here's our game summary. Matt Morris, 10 punch-outs. He's been exceptional. Reds have got 7 hits off him, but just have not been able to get him on, get him over, get him in, with the exception of the 2-run home run from Dimitri Young. Tomko only 3 hits. He's responded to the challenge today. McGwire, a walk, a strikeout, and a line drive out that Larkin made a sparkling catch of. The closest the big guys come to a round tripper was a bullet down the left field line that curved just foul.
Pretty good day for Tomko. It looked like early on, George, that he was struggling a little bit with the location of his breaking ball, but as the day has worn on, even though it's not been a high strikeout total for Tomko, he had high strikeouts over his last couple of games coming into this. Today he told me, hey, I'll take a win instead of high strikeouts any day, and he's been around the plate mixing his pitches up, and looks a lot better today, I think, than he has in his last 4 starts.
Good news for the Reds today has been the way Tomko's pitched, the way Dimitri Young has hit. Dimitri, 3 hits prior to that last at bat when he struck out. The bad news is Dimitri's exited the game after he fouled that ball off his back foot. Reggie Sanders will track it down in the corner. Mabry takes a big turn, but will hold it first. Leadoff base hit in the 7th inning for the St. Louis Cardinals. So Dimitri Young is out of the game. Sanders is over in right. Jeffrey Hammonds comes into the game in center, and Pettigini goes from right to left. So Dimitri leaves the game. You could tell that it was really bothering him after he fouled the ball off. And there's Jeffrey Hammonds. Now maybe the late entry for Jeffrey. He could be the star of this one before it's all over. Base hit to right, and here's Polanco. Will they sacrifice with him? Sanders in right, Hammonds in center, and Pettigini over in left. At this time of year, this is like a playoff light situation at Busch Stadium. Reminds you of the days when they used to start the games at 5 or 6 o'clock at odd times, and the shadows are a factor here for the center fielder especially, and the left fielder. Good bunt. Casey will take the out at first, and a successful sacrifice. Well, Polanco sacrifices. There's the go-ahead run out at second base. There are your shadows moving towards center field. Right now, the sun peeking towards the left fielder. In about another half an inning, the shadows will cross again between home plate and the pitcher's mound, which will create a problem.
Well, the pitcher was due up, but obviously Matt Morris will not hit in this situation. 2-2 ball game. They moved that runner over to second base. Ron Gant's been announced, so Don gunneled out to the pitching mound to talk to Tomko and Taub and see about how to pitch to Ronnie Gant, reminding him that you have first base open. You get behind to him, go ahead and give him one of those unintentional intentional walks, and we'll deal with Eli Marrero, who's up next.
Gant 1 for 9 against Brett Tomko, so they'll leave him in there. Available to pinch hit today from the left side, Tom Lampkin, the backup catcher. Gant, Ordaz, Pat Kelly, and the youngster up from AAA, McEwing, and the switch hitter Willie McGee. But Willie McGee is still very much bothered by the right ankle injury, and it's doubtful he'll be used.
Interesting, George, that even though he's 1 for 9, Tony La Russa likes this matchup better than sending up a left-hander like Lampkin to face a left-hander who's warming up down the bullpen.
The problem is Lampkin's his only backup catcher on the roster right now, so he's reluctant to, this is the ideal spot that Willie McGee would be used. If you don't see McGee now, it probably tells you that La Russa won't use him because that ankle is bad. And Willie would be the guy you'd send up right now, the most unpredictable hitter to pitch to in the Cardinal lineup. So if you don't see him here, you probably will not see him in this entire ball game. Here's the 1-0. Gant out in front, 1 ball and 1 strike. There's Lampkin and McGee. Willie, the year started, he didn't indicate whether he'd be back. McGee says he still is undecided whether he'll come back next year, not so much physically, but mentally. He said he has talked to friends, Ozzie Smith and other friends, saying that he hasn't had the mental edge that he's always had. lot of that can be, of course, the fact that this team isn't in a pennant race. When you're that age, you only play to be in postseason. There's the 1-1. Nubbed off the end of the bat. Tomko will have to go to first. The runner goes to third. They get Gant, and the runner advances, though. Well, it's up to Marrero, who's already burned the Reds. A single to left, knocked in a run in the third inning. I tell you, though, it tells you a lot about Willie McGee, though, Chris. Just for him to think that way, the Cardinals very much want him to come back. And for Willie, he said, I don't want to come back unless I know I can play at 100%, both physically and mentally. He also said he's looked back on his career, and he wishes, as he sees Mark McGwire now and how he's been embraced by the fans, how open he is, he wishes that he had been more open earlier in his career. Of course, late in his career, he's probably the most popular Cardinal of this decade.
Well, consider that Mark McGwire took a while to open up, too. Mark McGwire's 34 years old. The lessons you learn late in life, huh, George? Youth wasted on the young.
On the young.
You just go on and on.
That'll be in your book, won't it?
The name of it.
The Thinking Pitcher. 1 ball, 1 strike to Marrero. A base hit, knocked in a run, out in front. Good, smart pitching. Tomko's gone to change of speed in this inning to try to get those right-handers out in front. So far, is successful.
And you can see a much better breaking ball here the second and third time through the lineup than Tomko did the first time. You got a strong arm like Brett Tomko. You have a tendency to overthrow your curveball. It's better when you're worn down a little bit.
What a bounce back by Brett Tomko. After a single and a sacrifice, Tomko, boy, he has grown up another notch on this day in St. Louis. It's a 2-2 ball game. We're going to the 8th. Pettigini due to lead it off. Family Game is on Sunday, September the 13th at Synergy, brought to you by Willis Heating and Cooling. When the head of household pays full price, rest of the family pays only half price with the tickets are purchased in advance of game day. That's the Reach Magazine Family Game, brought to you by Willis Heating and Cooling, when the Reds take on the Diamondbacks Sunday, September 13th at 1:15.
A new pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. His name is Juan Acevedo. 38th time he's been in a ball game this year. 7-3 record. He collected his 5th save in the scoreless 9th inning, and this week earlier, make it last week and Monday against the Florida Marlins. He's turning in a very solid year. Less hits than innings pitched. Not a high strikeout pitcher, but a guy that uses a number of different types of pitches, including that changeup to throw the hitters off stride.
Of course, the Cardinals and the Reds used to have Indianapolis and Louisville as their AAA affiliates, played each other on a regular basis. Now the Cardinals have Memphis. They're in the Pacific Coast League. You don't see as many of those athletes, but most of these athletes have played against each other the last 2 or 3 years. Pettigini, of course, has faced Acevedo in the minor leagues in years past. Juan bounced around in his career. Picked up from the Mets just prior to the start of this year. And here's Roberto. A walk, a double, and a base hit. And a ground out, rather. 1 for 2 is Roberto Pettigini. On the scoreboard, already completed. Florida beat Montreal, the final 6-2. Milwaukee over Philadelphia 5-4, as the Brewers got 2 in the bottom of the 9th inning to win that one. Atlanta shut out the Mets 4-0. Combine that with the fact that the Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Chicago Cubs 4-3. Sammy Sosa did not homer in that game, so Mets and the Cubs stay right where they were at the start of play today in the wild card race. Colorado beat San Diego 12-2. Tonight, San Francisco at Los Angeles, Houston at Arizona. Reds will leave here, head to Houston for games Monday and Tuesday at the Astrodome. In the American League, Toronto beat Boston 8-7. Boy, they're playing great late August and September baseball north of the border. Pettigini stays alive, fouling it off 1 and 2. 3-2 your final. Detroit beat Cleveland. The Indians lose 3-2. Chicago, the White Sox beat the Yankees 6-5. Oakland is leading Tampa Bay 9-1. Now in the 7th inning at Oakland. Kansas City at Anaheim, Minnesota, Texas, Baltimore, Seattle still to come. Here it's a 2-2 ball game. 2-run, 7 hits for Cincinnati. 2-run home run by Dimitri Young, who had 3 hits before leaving after fouling a ball off his left foot. And the Cardinals 2 runs, 4 hits, and no errors. Mark McGwire, if you're just joining us, has not homered. Larkin robbed him of a base hit with a diving catch of a line drive at short. He walked in the 4th, and he struck out in the 6th. And his at bat in the 6th, he drilled a bullet down the left field line that just curved foul. It would have been number 61. And while we speak of number 61, the home run hit by Roger Maris in 1961 on the 1st of October to best Babe Ruth's single season record, we can tell you that the president of the Baseball Hall of Fame, Don Marr, is here sitting in the dignitaries booth with Bud Selig and Paul Beeston and National League President Len Coleman. And one of the artifacts that they brought with them is the Maris bat. The bat used, and there is, in fact, there is Jeff Idelson right there. He's the public relations director. And see that green thing right over McGwire's shoulder? That is the bat. That's Roger Maris's bat that he used to hit his 61st home run. Boone tries to sacrifice and fouls it off after Pettigini walked. The Maris family is sitting in front of him. Kevin and Roger and Pat all there in front of him in the row in front. And obviously, when it does come, whenever that home run does come, number 61, the guy in the front of your screen, Mark McGwire, is going to get a chance to put his mitts on that bat. Now that's a slice of history.
Now, he doesn't get to keep the bat.
Oh no, that's been donated to the Hall of Fame. Sacrifice successful by Boone, and the go-ahead run goes to second.
So what happens? McGwire gets to 62. He gets to pose with the bat, answer questions, and when Sammy Sosa gets to that point, does the same thing happen, or is it the fact that it's the first race to 62?
In fact, they're both going to get a chance to see it, feel it, touch it. It's been signed by Roger. There's Sammy at 58. Sammy will come here tomorrow. Here's Eddie Taubensee. He has struck out 3 times today, but this is the at-bat that counts in a 2-2 ball game. Pettigini off second. Another breaking ball, a swing and a miss. The Roger Maris bat, 32 ounces, 34 1/3 inches, was donated by Roger, both the bat and the ball. After, remember, Durante caught the ball in right field in 61, and a restaurateur from the West Coast bought both the bat and the ball. And the ball was for $5,000. He eventually bought the bat, and he donated both of those to the Hall of Fame. So the Roger Maris bat and ball is in the Hall of Fame. The Babe Ruth bat and ball is in the Hall of Fame. A fan donated Babe Ruth's 60th home run ball, and a New York writer donated the bat. So those 2 home runs of monumental proportion, both are represented by the bat and ball. Mark McGwire said that he'll donate the bat. The ball, of course, remains in question depending who catches it. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Taubensee. There is the Maris bat with Jeff Idelson. He got him. The golden sombrero on this day. Big, slow breaking ball from Acevedo.
Well, Eddie's not looked good the first 3 times up, and he's got to feel that this pitch was out of the strike zone. It's a curveball. Usually when you get a pitch called for a strike high, it's a fastball.
Wow.
You tell me that ball passed the plate while it was in the strike zone? A little bit too high on that. Matt Winters, he may have been fooled as well as Taubensee.
Well, there's 2 away. Here's Steins looking for his first hit of the ball game. Take another look from the side at the trajectory of that pitch.
Wow. Looked better from the side, didn't it?
Looked like a strike from the side, didn't it?
I take it back, Matt Winters. You have a better view than me. Mike Winters.
Here's the 1-0 to Steins. Down and in. Hey, the 1998 Mercury Grand Marquis is like a ballpark when it comes to roominess. It has loads of passenger and cargo space, plus a powerful V8. So imagine yourself in a Mercury. Steins 0 for 2 in the game, 1 for 5 in the series, trying to come up with a run-scoring hit here. Pettigini inches off second. Holds on the trigger. And it's 3 balls and no strikes. Melvin Nieves has moved into the on-deck circle for the Reds. Reds do not have a left-hander available to pinch hit. They have 5 right-handers and the switch hitter Nieves, the only left-hand bat available. Ball 4. So here's Melvin, who pinch hit and struck out yesterday, coming to the plate with a chance to give the Reds a lead.
And just like Don Gullett, who made his way out of the dugout to go talk to his moundsman when they announced Ron Gann as a pinch hitter, Dave Duncan will go on out there to make sure that they'll pitch Melvin Nieves to his scouting report. Juan Acevedo, as you've seen, he'll throw all sorts of pitches. He's even been known to invent pitches to throw out there. He's got a couple of different types of fastballs, a curveball, a good changeup, and of course with Nieves batting from the left side, he's a prime prospect, and he's a good fastball hitter. He's a prime prospect to see that changeup.
So Brett Tomko's day is done. He has pitched 7 complete innings, leaves at this stage in a 2-2 ball game. If Nieves can come up with a run-scoring base hit, he can leave with a lead. Melvin in at 259, 2 home runs, 17 runs batted in. Down the left field line, curving, but it will go foul. Tomko pitched brilliantly today.
You know, he's charged with 2 earned runs, but if the Reds had turned in some decent defense for him in inning number 4, they would not have scored. The Cardinals, Mark McGwire especially, picked the pocket of Reggie Sanders going first to third after he decoyed him at second base. And then an error by Brett Boone allowed Mark McGwire to score. As it turns out, it's just an earned run. But good defense would have kept McGwire off third base. A double play would have turned it. The following pop-up would have ended the inning, so Brett would have been looking at a win instead of a no-D.
Now he's got to count on Melvin Nieves to try to get it done with 2 away. Reggie Sanders on deck for the Reds. Down and away, 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 runs, 7 hits for Cincinnati, 2 runs, 4 hits for St. Louis. Fastball away, fouled off, and it's even at 2-2. Acevedo gets the sign from Marrero. Pettigini off second, Steins off first.
Missing down low right there. Nieves happy that was called a ball. Pettigini will lead off second base with the bases loaded. Ball or strike. Mike Winters has been right. We second guessed him. We don't even want to take another look at that because he has been right.
3 balls, 2 strikes, so the runners will be off and hustling with 2 outs. A base hit should score 1, maybe 2. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Reggie Sanders. Back-to-back walks by Acevedo after an outstanding pitching performance by Morris. 3 walks in the inning, a sacrifice, have loaded the bases, and Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa, you see Tony take a deep breath. That's the way this year has gone with his bullpen.
Well, the go-ahead run only 90 feet away in the form of Roberto Pettigini, who I said incorrectly a couple of innings ago he was 30 years old. Roberto only 27 when the season began. He is now 26 when the season began. He's now 27. So I stand corrected.
His first mistake all year. That's not bad.
No, first mistake this inning.
Breaking ball into Reggie. Strike 1. Sanders 0 for 2 in his career against Acevedo. He's had a rough week or so. His average in the second half has been outstanding, but he's going through a funk right now. And it's 0-2. It's further complicated by those shadows that we talked about, saying a few minutes ago that we were about 15 or 20 minutes away from them being a factor. They are right now. The ball will come out of the dark into the light and then into the dark again as it approaches Sanders.
Well, when we've seen Reggie Sanders in a hot streak, he shortens up with 2, goes the other way, beats the ball on the ground. Got to make contact here.
Count stays 0-2. Two-2 ball game. The Red side of this story is trying to win a ball game. The Cardinal team side is trying to close in on third place as Cincinnati is, but by far and away the overriding story of this day continues to be Mark McGwire, who is due up third the next inning. 0-2 in the dirt. And Pettigini was about a third of the way down the line, just hoping for that one to squirt away.
Boy, Marrero really got down on that one. You figure ahead in the count, you're going to waste a breaking ball. You want it in the dirt anyway, but there was no way that ball was getting away from Marrero, at least underneath him. Flush to the dirt.
1-2. Tries to jam him with a fastball. Reggie stays alive. Count holds, 1 ball and 2 strikes. On the year, Reggie sitting on 13 home runs, 58 runs batted in, and closing in on 20 stolen bases. He's got 16 on the year. He got it. Well, the Reds will leave the bags jammed in the 8th. The applause is for that, but even more so for the guy who will come up third in the next inning. Due up is McGwire third against Jack McKeon and the Reds. By AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By BP. At BP, everything we do for one reason, to keep you moving. By Star Bank, the official bank of the Cincinnati Reds. By the Ohio Lottery. Feel lucky. And by Mercury. Imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Nice view of Busch Stadium here in St. Louis from the blimp high above St. Louis. New pitcher for the Reds. Good outing for Tomko. A couple of runs on 7 innings of effort out there, and he'll give way to John Hudek. The numbers on Hudek a little bit deceiving. Look at the 220 earned run average. That's pretty good, but with the Reds, he has been outstanding. 4-1 with a 0.59 earnings. He's pitched a few times on this road trip. He's yet to give up a run, and including in those appearances is a strikeout in the 7th inning of Mark McGwire yesterday.
Here's the leadoff hitter, Delino DeShields, 0 for 3. Down into the corner. It'll go. DeShields rounds first, looking for 2. He'll get at least 2. He's turning on the Jets, looking for 3. Here comes Boone's throw down to third. Won't be in time. The go-ahead runs at third with no one out here in the 8th.
Well, they call it the most exciting play in baseball. That is if you haven't seen a Mark McGwire mammoth shot, and it gets down in the corner, begins to rattle around. Reggie Sanders will chase it down there. And DeShields really took a chance on trying to go for 3 on this ball, because by the time Sanders gets it, he's looking now, looking back again. Boone has got the ball just about now. He fires to third base, a strong throw, but it's about 3 feet or 4 feet off the mark. If it's on the money, DeShields is dead at third.
Here's Brian Jordan. Jordan 0 for 3 as well today. The Reds have to bring the infield in with the go-ahead run. Now at third base in a 2-2 ball game. Here in the bottom of inning number 8. On deck is Mark McGwire. That's a strike, 1-1. Jordan 3 fly balls today.
Interesting at this point, George, to play what if. What if John Hudek strikes out Jordan, McGwire comes up. you're managing conventionally, you may walk McGwire to set up a double play.
High in the air to left. This will get the run in. Pettigini under it. He'll make the catch. Here comes DeShields, who will score easily. No chance to throw him out. And it's a lead for the Cardinals. 3-2 St. Louis. Sacrifice fly from Brian Jordan. And behind home plate, here's the ritual. Mike Winters, the home plate umpire, is receiving 4 baseballs from the ball boy. Special balls that are put into play. They're specially marked only for a McGwire at bat. So they turn in the old balls, bring out the marked balls, because the next home run for Mark McGwire will be number 61.
Well, Brian Jordan just saved Jack McKeon from possibly becoming a marked man. By driving that run in with a sacrifice fly, he took the pressure off the defense. Now McGwire obviously will not be intentionally walked, and they'll have to pitch to him.
Well, here it is. Hudek against McGwire. Big Mac sitting on 60 home runs. First one is up high. It was like Christmas Day on Friday night at night with the flash bulbs going off, even in the daytime. They do every time Hudek delivers. Swing and a miss, 1-1. It's power against power. Make no mistake about Hudek's philosophy and McGwire's philosophy. McGwire, 60 home runs on this day. He's 0 for 2 and a walk. Each of them tuned it up a notch, and it's 1-2.
Interesting, John Hudek throws one of those fastballs that looks faster than it is. McGwire late on it, but because he's compact and comes right after you, that's only 91. Tomko is at 94.
High and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. 48,000 at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. This city has witnessed countless memorable moments. They want one more from number 25. Everyone on their feet. McGwire pauses, looks down, takes a moment to collect himself. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Line drive, Boone gloves it. Here comes the throw. They got him. It's the second spectacular play Boone has made against McGwire, thanks to the McGwire shift. First week in July when the Reds were here, McGwire hit a ball that knocked Boone down, and he made the play. And here he robs McGwire of a hit with this diving step.
Brett Boone playing way over there in the shortstop spot. There you see him in your screen. How often do you see a second baseman do the third base side of second base? He makes a great grab going to his left, comes up, flips. McGwire's retired, and they're giving out bags of $20 bills in the parking lot because people are heading out of here in a hurry.
Everybody up, heading towards the gates, thinking with the Cardinals leading now that McGwire will not get another at bat. Here's Ray Langford. So McGwire has hit the ball hard 3 times today. He lined out once to Larkin a diving play, lined out there. Boone made a diving stab, and the other line drive just went foul by a few feet down the third base line. So it appears more and more likely that the showdown will take place between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire on Monday and Tuesday when the Cubs come to town. And as much as everyone that's here today, Chris, would like to see history, I think the rightful confrontation should be 2 guys at 60 and 58 home runs being in the same ballpark at the same time when the record does fall.
Speak for yourself. I wanted to hear you make the call.
And you know we love to do it, but
I wanted the people in Cincinnati to see it on the Reds television network.
60 and 58. There it is. Langford, a ton to center field. Hammond's back. Warning track wall, and Ray Langford has the round tripper. And it's a 4-2 game. Well, we've talked about it all season long. It's the McGwire effect. That's the 4th time this year that a Reds pitcher has pitched McGwire tough and then given up, or Sosa tough, and given up a game-winning hit or a home run after McGwire or Sosa hits. And here's another example of it.
You know, Don Gellin had a talk to Gabe White about that same thing when it happened against Mark Grace following Sammy Sosa. And you just have to figure that even though you try to mentally prepare yourself not to have that kind of a letdown, it's natural. After all, people are now seated back in their seats. It's only Ray Langford up there, not Mark McGwire. You groove him a pitch, he's up to it. Hey, he's a good fastball hitter, having a pretty good year.
Number 26 for Langford. Here's Tatis.
Could be that Ray Langford likes batting behind McGwire more than McGwire likes batting in front of Langford.
At this stage of the year, it's working out for him.
Letdown versus protection.
You're right. No balls, 2 strikes. And Tatis goes deep to left. Back goes Pettigini, and that's gone. It's now a 5-2 game.
Well, Ray Langford went deep on a fastball out over the middle of the plate. John Hudek wanted to throw Tatis a breaking ball because that's his weakness, but he hung it right up there in his zone, and the Cardinals go back-to-back.
Well, John has not been fooling many folks in this inning. Triple by DeShields, a sacrifice fly, a diving stop by Boone on a ball that McGwire hit like a bullet, then the home run by Langford and the home run by Tatis. 5-2 St. Louis. Here's Mabry. Hey, if you have a craving for ribs and can't get to Cincinnati, order the world's greatest ribs from the Montgomery Inn's mail order division. Call 1-800-USA-RIBS and your craving will be satisfied immediately. To left, tough sun. There goes Pettigini, and he's got it. Good job by Roberto to track that down, but the damage done. 3 on the board for the Redbirds in the 8th. One last crack at it for Cincinnati. Casey Larkin and Dimitri Young, replacement due to uncork it as we go to the 9th. Trivia question. Mark McGwire has homered in 31 of the 33 ballparks he's played in during the regular season. What 2 parks is he homerless in? The answer to our Lowe's trivia question: he is yet to homer at Synergy Field and Turner Fields. He gets one last crack at it. Remember that the Cardinals come to town. How many will he have when he comes Wednesday and Thursday? Well, stop by and find out. There are still tickets available for Wednesday night and Thursday night at Synergy Field. 2 things to tell you. First of all, the Wednesday game's at 7:35 now. The Thursday game's at 7:17, a little bit later starts. And also, if you do have will call tickets for Wednesday and Thursday, you can pick them up the day of game, the day of your game, beginning at 9 a.m. And we would suggest that you do stop by early. In other words, don't wait till an hour before game time, because there are a lot of will call tickets to be picked up. If you work in the downtown area, try to stop by earlier in the day, possibly, and pick them up. Save yourself the wait so that you can get to the park, and especially with McGwire in town, watch batting practice and get there early enough you can watch Chris take BP too.
You have to get there real early for that. Might not be worth the effort.
Here's Sean Casey. Reds need a big rally in the 9th. They trail 5-2. Casey to center field. Langford in, now goes back, and he's got it. Casey's retired, a 1-for-4 day. By the way, in case you missed it, our Ohio Lottery drawing from last night. Pick 3, 481-481. Pick 4, 0358-0358. Super Lotto, 12, 26, 28, 31, 34, 43. 12, 26, 28, 31, 34, 43. Hope you had a winner last night in the Ohio Lottery. Ohio State Buckeyes had a winner last night, opening at West Virginia with a W. Get the final. The Bengals were losing the last time I checked.
They went down.
Final. Big upset, an important victory for Miami of Ohio, beating very powerful North Carolina 23-14. Right, 13-10. The Cincinnati game was at 23-14 in the late in the game. It was a final. Did you get the final on?
Yeah, the final on that game was 24. Let's see, make that 23-14. That's the way it stayed. Yeah.
Right. 3-0. Barry Larkin takes a ball 4. Reds need base runners right here with 1 away in the 9th inning. Here's Jeffrey Hammonds for his first at bat. Tony La Russa before you saw the hands clapping, was just saying, throw strikes, let's go. Tony's on a mission right now, and that is to finish third and hit 500. That's what he has set as a goal for his ball club in the final month of the season. It was a year ago that the Reds came here next to last series of the season and swept St. Louis to move ahead of them in the division and finish ahead of them at the end of the division. It was a bitter pill to swallow for the Cardinals and Tony La Russa. Acevedo tell him, let's go. Let's get Acevedo moving. There goes Larkin. Line drive, right field, hit pretty good, but within striking distance of Brian Jordan, and there's 2 away. The Cubs will come to town Monday and Tuesday in St. Louis. Sammy Sosa and company will be here. The Reds will leave after tonight and go to Houston to play the Astros on Monday and Tuesday, and then back home Wednesday, Thursday against St. Louis. Here's Roberto Pettigini. A walk, a double, a ground out, and another walk. He's had 4 good plate appearances today. He continues to impress you in this second half call-up.
I'll tell you, if he doesn't impress you on the field, he'll impress you off the field with his work habits. He is simply wearing out Ken Griffey Sr. More soft toss, more batting cage, batting practice. This guy gets early, works hard, and stays late.
Strike to Roberto. 310 average on the year, a home run, 2 runs batted in. And in the series, 2 for 4. 1 a pinch hit. High in the air to left, hit pretty good, but should stay in the park. Langford, he's in trouble, but he'll make the catch. Between the sun and where that ball went, Langford did not have an easy job of it. Mark McGwire doesn't get 61 on this day in St. Louis, but his club does get a W. 5-7-0 for the Cardinals, 2-7-1 for the Cincinnati Reds. All eyes on McGwire, but it was Ray Langford's bolt. A home run for Langford, a home run from Tatis that helped pace the Cardinals to their victory. So Cincinnati loses it. They lose 2 out of 3 in this series. They still have 2 more left against St. Louis when they come to town. 48,000 on hand to watch it. And as McGwire and company exit, we'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on the Cincinnati Reds Fox Sports Ohio Television Network. We'll be back to wrap it up after this. Baseball is brought to you by Pepsi, Generation Next. By Arby's. Love food? Think Arby's. By Grand Victoria Casino in Rising Sun, Indiana. Call 1-800-GRAND-11. And by Boomer's Products, barbecue sauce and salsa, supporting a cure for cystic fibrosis. Back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, 48,000 plus again at the ballpark. They came to see one thing, and one thing not only, but one thing in particular. That was Mark McGwire to hit home run number 61. They didn't get it, but they had an entertaining afternoon of baseball, and the home team came home with a W. 5 runs, 7 hits, and no errors for the St. Louis Cardinals. 2-7-1 for Cincinnati. And as you look on the field, a day when dignitaries from all over the game of baseball arrive. There's Don Marr, the president of the Baseball Hall of Fame, in the shirt sleeves. Jeffrey Idelson next to him, the communications director for the Hall. And over Jeffrey's shoulder is Roger Maris, home run bat from home run number 61 in 1961. That's something that Mark McGwire will get a peek at, get to put in his mitts and take a picture with when he does get to that. There's the Maris family behind him, Kevin and Roger, and their mom Pat Maris behind him. Paul Beeston, the CEO of baseball, with the sunglasses on there, talking to the Maris boys. And Chris, you know, there's kind of it's a cross between a playoff atmosphere, a carnival atmosphere, and really a love fest, not only for Mark McGwire, but for baseball. This has been such a special couple of days. The commissioner, Bud Selig, arrived today as well to be here for, he hopes, what will be the final home run on this long chase. But from a standpoint of where this weekend has gone, it's been nothing but positive every step of the way.
Exactly, George. You know, your description, Love Fest, fits it probably perfectly, because fans, not only Cardinal fans, but people who haven't even been watching baseball, are behind Mark McGwire. He's being cheered, the radio's being listened to, televisions are being watched that haven't been watched before, and there's two good guys who are chasing the record right now. Sammy Sosa is a tremendous player. He's a tremendous human being. He does a lot of work back in the Dominican Republic, supporting his community back there. Mark McGwire, of course, his charities are well known, and he goes after it and donates more than $1 million a year of his salary back to charity. So it's guys that you pull for, and it's guys that you're really happy for. It just, no matter what in baseball, it just seems like the guys who are in this chase are doing the things that maybe the guys who run baseball can't do. You wonder if it would be the same feeling if Albert Bell were in this chase. I don't think so. The fact that it's Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa make it very, very special.
You see Jack McKeon going to the right field corner, along with Brett Tomko and Rob Butcher, the Reds PR director, as they head towards the interview room. This has been such a thrust. Over 700 media credentials doled out. There's Tomko heading towards the interview area, along with Jack McKeon behind him, that they've had to set up a special interview room in the right field area, similar to a World Series or a playoff scenario. And I tell you, Chris, a great round of applause should go to the Cardinal officials and the Reds too, Rob Butcher and company, the way they've handled the crush of media here. It's an extra month of playoff pressure from a PR standpoint, and they've done a great job of it. And it may very well, very possibly, end up going to Cincinnati, where the Cardinals will come to town. You know, most people believe in all probability that number 61 or 62 might be hit by either Sosa or McGwire in the next couple of days, but it could come to Cincinnati on Wednesday and Thursday, and that would certainly bring a whole lot of excitement to the Queen City.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, even if McGwire were to hit 62 before he comes to Cincinnati, you still have the excitement of him possibly hitting number 63, 64 or more. So the whole thing will continue until September the 27th, when the season officially ends, and we'll find out who's on top.
As you can see, they put the interview room video on the scoreboard here at Busch Stadium, so the fans, and yesterday when McGwire went to the interview room, there were about maybe 7,000 or 8,000 fans that stayed and watched, and they were applauding McGwire. Right now it's Jack McKeon and Brett Tomko talking about this ball game and about the chase against McGwire. You know, before we go to break for a moment, let's talk a little bit about Brett Tomko, who pitched exceptionally well today. And Chris, after all the flack over what he said about facing McGwire, the proof is in the pudding. And he pitched his tail off today and pitched him tough in every at-bat.
Yeah, he really did. You know, he knew that he had to face McGwire. He knew that he would be challenged to throw him strikes, and he did go right after him. Early on, it didn't look like Brett had good location on any of his pitches, his fastball or his breaking stuff, but he got better as the game went on. He hung right in there, got a no decision this afternoon. He wants to get a couple of decisions on the winning side before the season ends, but he wants to erase what happened in August, because it's been that kind of an up and down season for him. Today was a good step in that way, and you got to figure that the fact that all this media was here, all these people were here, all the attention given to Brett Tomko prior to this ball game and here after the ball game has to help his maturing process, and hopefully Brett Tomko will be a stronger pitcher and a stronger human being after all this is done.
For those of you that aren't familiar with the post-game ritual, on that right shoulder, his pitching shoulder, there's ice packed in there, and it's wrapped up by Mark Mann and Greg Lynn, the Reds trainers, and that will stop the flow of blood to the area, help to an athlete to recover, a pitcher to recover more rapidly for their next start. It's become a ritual, and every pitcher goes through it, most at least, unless you're David Wells. And David, you never know what he's going to do when the post-game is. But from a standpoint of post-game recovery, Tomko's got his arm wrapped, and he's talking to the media along with Jack McKeon. We'll be back to wrap this one up from St. Louis, where the Reds have lost to the Cardinals 5-2. And if you're joining us late, McGwire has not hit 61, but there were a whole lot of thrills today, and we'll show you some of those when we return. Back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The final numbers on this ball game. Another capacity crowd of 48,000 plus saw the Cardinals score 5 runs, 7 hits, and no errors. The Reds 2 runs, 7 hits, and an error. Acevedo will get credit for the victory. Hudek will take the loss. The two starters in this game to begin with pitched exceptionally well. Brett Tomko allowed only 4 hits and 2 earned runs in his 7 innings of pitching, and Matt Morris also pitched exceptionally well, but neither one figured in the final outcome. Let's take a look at our highlights of this game, beginning with our Star Bank star of the game, and that is Ray Langford, who came up with The big home run, a sacrifice fly, gave the lead to St. Louis in the 8th inning. Then Langford salted it away with his second hit of the ball game. 2 for 3. Big Ray hits home run number 26.
Both his hits were important in this ball game. A single in the 4th helped to score a run, and this one over the center field wall scores the second run in the 8th inning. That's the one that put it away.
Not the only home runs of the day. Dimitri Young had 3 more hits, including Dimitri's 14th home run of the year that gave the Reds a 2-0 lead.
Looked good early on when Dimitri Young picked on this off-speed pitch and lined it out of here. Second home run in this series for Dimitri.
And the capper of the day, Fernando Tatis, homered. Since coming over from Texas, he now has 5 home runs, including this round tripper that made it 5-2, and that was your final score. There was some great defense on this day. Barry Larkin robbed Mark McGwire of a base hit, and then out with the shift on. How about this play by Brett Boone?
Well, Brett Boone playing over really in the shortstop hole right here. He's looking. He'll have to go to his left right here to make the play. He dives, comes up firing. Nice play by the Red second baseman.
McGwire didn't get 61 on this day. He was robbed twice by the Reds. 0 for 3 and a walk. Here's your setup for tomorrow. We get to see the big unit, Randy Johnson against Steve Parrish, Chris.
I'll tell you what, Steve Parrish had fun with the Houston Astros, but the bad news is Randy Johnson's on the hill.
For Chris Welch, Marty Brenneman, this is George Grant. Good day, everybody. See you at the ballpark.